Hello, everybody, and welcome to yet another edition of Paradigm Shift and Educational Comedy. And I'm going to once again go into screen share mode because I'm going to be reading a journal entry that I made. Kind of wanted to do a text and video version of this simultaneously, make things easier and ensure that it remains as short as possible. Obviously, this part here won't be there when I update this. You'll see the video and everything in its place. Alrighty. Clearing throat, ready to speak. Within my continued investigations of what happened to TSU and how we can learn from the mistakes made, in cooperation with friends and colleagues who have been undertaking the same task, I've reached out to Oth Ickel, please forgive me if I'm pronouncing that wrong, the proprietor of Tsumatic. For those of you who do not know, Tsumatic was a site in which existing TSU or SU users could create an account, and the purpose was to make it easier for new people who are interested in TSU to receive an invite to the invite-only service. The slogan of Tsumatic was, "You can't pick your parents in real life, but with Tsumatic you can." The way TSU structured its networking, the people who were invited directly under you were referred to as your children, and everyone under them was labeled as descendants. In the true sense of community spirit, the idea behind this was to encourage people to cooperate with each other and collaborate with each other when it comes to creating and sharing original content. The last time I went on air in a roundtable discussion regarding this issue, Sean Carone pointed out that Sue's revenue was 100% dependent upon Google AdSense, which was a catastrophic mistake on the part of TSU. There are a great many ad services out there which could have been used simultaneously and in rotation. As the old saying goes, don't put all of your eggs in one basket. And despite this despite this advice, ad service, there's a frickin' Freudian slip right there if there ever was one. Let's just backtrack a little. As the old saying goes, don't put all your eggs in one basket, and despite this advice being centuries, if not millennia old, those who do not learn from history are doomed to repeat it, as was the case with TSU. My conversation with Oth Ickel validates our suspicions about Google AdSense pulling their support from TSU. I was suggesting to him, and the hyperlink goes to the Tsumatic blog, TSU is dead, long live Tsumatic. I was suggesting to him that Tsumatic be used as a place where people could import their zip file data exports to be able to parse it back into web-friendly content. For those who are not familiar, in the TSU going dark and all that, they had an option to where you could download zip files of all your posted content and images and stuff. And the main control files for it, instead of parsing it out to HTML like they should have, which would have been smart, they parsed it out to XML and JSON, which is only useful if you're a programmer. So yet another epic fail on behalf of Sue. Thanks for nothing. Anyway. Oth Ickel explains. Hi, David. Thank you for the blog and thank you for your ideas. Unfortunately, Tsumatic will remain just the way it is until every last person departs or if no new person comes on board. I know it's right now pointless the way it is, but there are some things I can do and I can't do. For example, Tsumatic is banned from AdSense because some users added their profiles into the traffic surfing websites to get some signups. Google doesn't like it. Before I even acted to disable the ads in the individual profiles to prevent getting banned from from the Google AdSense program, it was too late, and I received a letter stating that my AdSense was banned and I'm not allowed to open another one according to the rules. Even though, let's say, I open another AdSense account, it can't be placed into Tsumatic because the domain itself is banned, along with my own blog, authicl.com. For those reasons, unfortunately, Tsumatic can't be turned into any beneficial platform since it can't be monetized. I always like to speak the truth, and I'm sure you being a truth seeker would understand my point. I'm not willing to put time into something that wouldn't generate any kind of revenue. At that point, it's just a hobby, and it really requires heavy moderation, especially if I allow people to post whatever they feel like. If it is monitored, it requires me to pay high attention to see what's being posted or whatnot. So since it can't be monetized and potentially bring revenue to keep the system up and running and keep me excited to take over the duties, unfortunately, I can't do anything with that website anymore other than keep the gates closed, moderation, and just leave it as is. I hope you would understand my point. I also have a project for a social media platform where any single person would benefit from the platform in the same scale, but without anyone getting ahead of the game. I started doing sketch projects, but it won't happen unless I find coders and investors. It's a long run. I'm just trying to create the game planning in case I can partner with some collaborators who are capable of creating what I'm trying to achieve. Thank you. Please let me know if you have any other questions. I too have been having ideas for how to create a brand new Sue replacement site that does not repeat the old mistakes and is also decentralized, so it's not dependent on any one central location. Though this would be easy to do, we are all brainwashed into thinking in terms of top-down hierarchy structures, and so decentralization creates cognitive dissonance for all of us until we are able to deprogram the old thinking and become more used to the newer thinking. The problem with top-down hierarchy is that if you cut off the head, the body dies. With decentralized networking, all nodes on a network all perform equal functions and speak to each other directly and independently on call as needed. Ironically, the backbone of the internet itself is a combination of centralized and decentralized technologies already as it stands. For example, with centralization, you are directly connected to a central point server for your internet access. Wi-Fi hotspots are the closest thing to decentralized direct access we have right now. Whereas despite this centralization, DNS systems, and not referring to DHCP, are basically decentralized. If you want to go to Google, Facebook, YouTube, DeviantArt, Twitter, or wherever else, you do not need to be receiving your internet access directly from these places. You simply type in the web address and your computer is able to make a direct connection to the servers at the desired locations. The centralized aspect is that this connection has to hop between all of the points between you and those servers. It can't make a direct physical connection from your machine to the servers at the desired destination address. Sitting Bull has also been doing more of his own investigations and has discovered some very interesting information, but that will be shared on the next roundtable covering this issue. We are also hoping to get some of the other TSU members whose voices have not yet been heard on these issues to come on board and speak. We are hoping to have Ron Kalari and Dexter Runa on with us, but their participation, though requested, has not been confirmed. So the good news is, not only is there desire within people to create a new TSU-like platform, but without repeating all the old mistakes again and again, but there are currently several TSU alternatives out there, and keep in mind, they are all social experiments. They aren't scams, but at the same time, they are not heaven sent and guaranteed to succeed either. The internet itself is a very new thing within the consciousness of humanity, and so really everything done online is an experiment in seeing what works and what does not. At some point, I will be putting together a presentation with my ideas on what I think will work and how it should potentially avoid repeating past mistakes. Until then, thank you for reading and listening, depending on where and how you are accessing this, and have a wonderful day, night, or whatever it is in your corner of the planet. Infinite void tunnel of quantumness. Bye-bye.